I built an AI agent that actually trades stocks through Robinhood now that Robinhood has the ability for you to trade agentically. And I can actually say that that agent actually has been profitable for me. I'm not doing any type of crazy trading. I really gave the agent a small selection of stocks that are kind of mild in volatility. And the agent has been doing a pretty good job of sticking to a strategy that I gave it. But most importantly, it's doing a good job because it's also self-optimizing itself. And so in this video, I actually just want to break down the framework for that. I actually think that's one of the most important things that you can actually do with AI agents today is actually give them a proper and a good feedback loop so that they start to self-improve over time, so that you're not having to always sit there and kind of babysit their output. So I'm going to go ahead and walk through explaining the framework, and I'm also going to show you the inside of that trading agent that I am using. So here on my screen, you basically see the flow of how most agents today are being built. So at first they start with some sort of instruction prompt or something like that. That's usually the trigger for the agent to start working. Through some tools, things like MCP connections or endpoints, the agent's able to do some work, it executes the task, and then there's an output. And then after that, it stops. Right? And this is kind of how most people have a lot of agents set up. And I can't say that for a lot of tasks, or really for most tasks, I actually think that this is okay if your output is really to be the kind of the same every single time, right? So if you have an agent that's just there to pull some competitor content, maybe transcribe them and give you back some analysis, and that's it, then hey, that's fine. But if you actually want to build an agent that actually starts to self-optimize over time, then this is more the model that I believe that you really need to shift to. So in the case of my trading agent, I have an instruction prompt. It has tools in which to execute. It has the Robinhood MCP. It also has some API endpoints, so it's able to pull historical stock data. It also has a tool to access a database, so it's actually able to collect data on its recent trades. And again, I'm going to show you that. Don't worry if it feels like a lot of information. So again, my agent has instructions, it has tools that it executes through. It executes the task, which in my case, the task is a decision. So the agent can choose to buy a position, to close a position, or to do nothing, right? Every single thing is a decision, right? So that output is really the agent taking action on one of those decisions. And then from there, there's a feedback loop that agent's constantly checking on its position, right? And then depending on how it maybe read the market, it'll go back through and actually optimize its prompt for next time, right? So it's a continuous cycle. So as the agent, let's say, buys a trade, so it bought a stock, it bought it in the right buy zone because that's a strategy that I set for it. The stock went up, let's say 4% over a day or two, the agent sold. It's then able to look at that and say, hey, I did a good job here because I read it right. The stock went up to the right price, we exited, we collected profit, we're good. Or even in a down case scenario, hey, we bought the stock in the buy zone, but it reversed and it went down. Okay, didn't go well. What happened? Is there anything I can do so that I can either mitigate these losses next time, or maybe I need to tighten up some criteria or something like that? Let me actually just go ahead and show you the agent. So I'm here in BotLogic. This is a platform that I built for myself to help me manage a couple different agents that I may spin up. But here in files, you can see that under my agent MD, this is like a Claude MD. This is just a markdown file with a set of instructions. But you could see here that this is really long. Now here's the thing, I didn't write all of this, right? I did not write all of this. My original instruction set maybe started with maybe a paragraph of instruction, and then I basically just sat here and I dictated to the AI. And before Robinhood actually had the ability to trade agentically, I was actually using the AI to basically pull stock information. So as you see here under tools, it has the ability through Massive to pull historical stock data. So it pulls in that stock data, we analyze it, and then from there, the AI would help me determine what buy zones were applicable for certain stocks. So as you see here in my prompt, I have certain stocks. So I'm watching banking stocks, I'm watching ETFs. And so the AI basically goes in, every day it seeds the database. Seeds meaning that's pulling historical data, and it's storing it in a database, so it's able to better analyze historical pricing to figure out what are good buy and sell zones. And then from there, its job was to just kind of give me what those zones were, and then I would execute and I would report back to the agent. So again, coming back here, before the agent traded agentically, it would execute the task, it would give me an output, right? And then depending, I would make the trade or not, and then I would give it feedback, and then it would use that to self-optimize itself for the next run. And that's exactly how I end up with this mega instruction set that you see here. Now, here's one of the most important things. So if I open up Query Logic, this is another tool I built for business intelligence. And you can see here, I have the data structured in a database, but this could be a Google Sheet. This could be, right, some other sort of data store. The most important thing is that your AI needs to be able to access it. So in my case, I'm using a database. And as you can see here, I've already kind of talked to my tool here, and if I open up trades, you could see here that these here are basically the trades that the AI has placed. So you can see what symbol, what side, how many shares. And so right now I'm trading on very small positions. So I'm literally buying like one share of a stock, and I'm just letting the agent just go through this learning period, right? And so as you see here, these are some stocks that the agent traded. So it traded JP Morgan, right? It plotted the entry, the exit, right? This is when we started using Robinhood for agentic trading. And the same thing, Home Depot, Citi, Bank of America, right? Entries, exits, P&Ls, right? And these are some of the positions where we lost, right? And so one of the things that the agent clearly spoke about when we were in our feedback loop was how well it was doing in more of the financial sectors. And one of the reasons that is because also financial sectors move on interest rates, and it knows that because I also gave it this Perplexity search tool. So it uses the Perplexity model when it needs to do any kind of web searching or things like that. It also has Firecrawl, so it can also spin up in the back end a way to scrape through websites and content to get the right information. And again, using that over time, over and over again, we're able to just lock in this process. Pretty much on a maybe an every other day or weekly basis, this agent's able to go back through this database, right? This database of trade history that you see here, and it's able to see, okay, what trades went right, what trades went wrong. One of the things that I recently had to call out to the agent was actually because when it bought into a position, it would automatically set a stop loss at about maybe 5 to 7% low. But one thing I told the agent was that if the stop loss is below the buy zone target, meaning that we're breaking it, we shouldn't even be that far down. We should basically be placing those stops just below or below with a little bit of margin below the buy zone, so that if it breaks, we get out early enough without letting the account or letting the position just kind of run too much into the red, right? And so that was something that we optimized on over time. And again, that's exactly how you get to a massive instruction set like this. But again, the good thing here is that this agent has been maintaining close to roughly about a 70% win to loss ratio. And then on top of that, we're able to optimize because the agent can always look back on historical data and see, again, what went right, what went wrong. And by using a tool like Query Logic that I have here, we can really go into detail as far as wins and losses, right? Like maybe you have a 70% win ratio, but are your wins amount smaller than your losses so that your losses still run your account into the negative, right? We can answer questions like that. And so again, coming back to the whole genesis of the conversation, right? When you want to build an agent that is just more than just kind of like doing a simple task, you want to build in a feedback loop, right? A lot of people focus on just a really good prompt, the right tools, and the output, but I would argue that the feedback analysis and this automatic prompt optimization is key to building an agent that can not just do a task, but self-improve over time. Because again, you're not going to be sitting here writing this massive instruction set, but the AI definitely can once it's working with the right data. And lastly, one of the most important things I think about building AI agents is that, remember, these artificial intelligence systems, the most important things to these things are data. And so if you have an agent and it's executing a task and you're not really giving it good examples, or your instruction prompt is really weak, then you can expect weak results. The more data that you're able to give your agent, the better it will do. And that's why in my case, I went ahead and I used this third-party endpoint service to feed my AI agent a lot of data around very specific ticker symbols so that it really starts to learn and train itself on what good buy zones are, what sell zones are. And then now with Robinhood, it's able to automatically execute these trades, and it's able to actually see these P&Ls in real time. So it's able to know, again, wins, losses, and things like that. And most importantly, it has a goal, right? Its goal is to basically be profitable, be a profitable trader week over week, manage risk appropriately, right? Those are some of the goals of this agent. So anyway, with that being said, thank you for checking out the video. If you want to learn more about this kind of model of building AI, drop a comment below the video. Let me know what you think, let me know what you're building, and yeah, happy to get the feedback. Thank you for checking out the video, and I'll see you in the next one.